to you and welcome. I am Chisom Chinedu. Franklin Ebuka is here. Good morning, Franklin.
Good morning, Chisom. Good morning, Makandibuna Hadekwama.
Hadima. Dr. Tonio Lisambeki is here. Frank, were you going to say something?
Yes, of course. Okay. Just to thank people for always being there with us or being there for us, because it's not easy that each time we congregate here, they are always there to hear what we have to say, at the same time contribute to making governance better in Nigeria. And today being Wednesday, the 6th day of May 2026, I think it's a good day for Arsenal fans because they've been celebrating since last night as they qualify for Champions League final for the first time in 20 years. In fact, it's like for the second time in their history, and it's a good thing for them. In fact, if you check social media, they've been trying to paint everywhere red. But of course, it's not yet to hurry until when they get to the final and face either PSG or Bayern Munich. And let's see whether they're going to, break the jinx because they have never won it in their history. So, congrats to them. And then in the political scene, of course, yesterday in Anambra State, we saw the release of a batch of nominees for commissioners, 18 of them. And the list has been sent to the House of Assembly for screening and confirmation. And as we speak, the House has already put out a timetable on how they are going to screen them. They have been partitioned into batches and assigned days for them to come for the screening. And they were told on what they are going to come with for that very screening. So in the coming days, we should expect that we are going to have a complement of a good number of commissioners who are going to help the governor of Anambra State in piloting the affairs of the state.
Absolutely.
In his second term in office. I think it was last week that we discussed it here. We were asking questions, what would lay in the list, because some persons have been, holding forth when it comes to a business decision because they were waiting to see the color of the cabinet. And now that we have an idea, so I believe that it's going to spur some other economic decisions in the nearest future. Then I stumbled into a video of a pastor who supposedly made a prophecy in 2025. And in that prophecy, he said that ADC is not the party to challenge APC. That a new party was going to emerge, and he mentioned that it's going to be NDC. And now people have been trending this very video because if you watch the video, there is some level of accuracy in what the pastor did. Maybe if we have time, we'll be able to listen to him.
Absolutely. We get to listen to all of that and even more yesterday at Babio while reading out the letters of resignation of the persons who left the ADC. Made some, what I call it, very humorous statements. We're going to get to play that as well. Dr. Tony Olisambeki, good morning.
Good morning to you, Chisom Chinede. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, the good people of Southeast. Good morning, India, Anambra. Good morning, India, Onitsha. Good morning, everyone under the reach of our voice, the farmers, the artisans, the market men and women in their fiande, all worker, the artisans, pensioners, the senior citizens, everyone for your listening time. It's not easy to listen, and we are back in the sanctuary to profess the truth. We are back in our altar to do the work of Lord, to do our evangelical work. It's our ministry anyway, and we are here piloting the affairs of our nation in a way that will bring you analysis. We thank God Almighty for His mercy, for His grace, for His love, for His kindness, for yet another day today, Wednesday, another miracle. Like I always say, every new day is a miracle. And for Arsenal fans, you have to celebrate in moderation. Very important. I remember when the final of 2005-2006 season was actually played between Arsenal and Barcelona. I remember that very day. I could recall I was in a Ninjoko Hall, UNN. I don't know what I was doing there anyway, but I had come to see some friends, and I was with the SUG speaker at that time, and for reasons, everybody thought Arsenal was going to defeat Barcelona. We knew then that likes of Ronaldinho was in Barcelona at that time. Samuel Eto'o as well, and many of them. But guess what? Immediately, James Lehmann was given that red card. Many people said, Otilo, it is finished. I remember James Neyman was carried in the 13th minute of the game. And he brought down, it was Samuel Eto'o. And he was deemed to have fouled somebody who was goal bound. And the rule was applied. And he was red carded. But we saw Campbell netting the first goal, because I know free kick was played. And then he raised highest to give us the hope. But the rest remain history. I don't want to go deep into that. But it's a good day to learn that 20 years after, they're back. But this time around, it's going to be at Budapest, either PSG or Bayern Munich. Arsenal fans are praying for Bayern Munich. They don't want to meet PSG. I don't know reason, because PSG have dealt strong blow to all English sides. Chelsea, Aston Villa, Man City, Arsenal, eclipsing them. But they don't want to meet that side again for some reasons. Well, you're welcome. Sit back and enjoy the program, because this is not sports program, and then Chisom may not even understand what we are talking about.
They play.
She's completely out.
What are you insinuating?
No, she does not understand what we are saying.
Chisom is a baller.
No.
Oh, she's a baller.
Bring fashion and entertainment. That's where she belongs. Fashion and entertainment.
Let's not drag this. We're going to start with the papers. On our desk today, we have Vanguard, The Punch, Nigerian Tribune, and of course the Guardian. And starting off with the front page of the Vanguard, the banner headline is 2027 citing crisis. 19 NAS members defect to NDC. That's on page 5. And the riders here are plenty. ADC and NNPP lose 3 seats in Senate as Abaribe Ume Hanga defect. 18 reps defect from ADC, 17 to NDC. 1 joins APC. Senate configuration: APC 88, ADC 8, PDP 4, NDC 3, APGA 1, and Accord 1, vacant 4. Reps: APC 260, PDP 38, LP 21, NDC 17, NNPP 14, APGA 5, others 4. ADA distances self from others' fight against NDC's registration. I think ADC is dead. Akbabio. On page 5.
That's the usual vintage Akbabio, who finds a way to make mockery of a situation. In fact, he leveraged on what happened to Enina Baribe. Baribe was on the floor of the Senate, should I say about a few weeks ago, where he announced his defection from ABGA to ADC, and we can recall how his defection was queried on the fact that there was no problem in ABGA. In fact, they even threatened to declare his seat vacant before he went behind closed doors to do what was supposed to be done. And yesterday, he also announced defection from ADC.
And he asked him how often he's going to defect.
Exactly.
But I like the response he got. As often as the spirit leads.
It's what for anyway.
For every bus, there is a boss. Xenophobia. Senate reps Esequisili. Others mount pressure on South African government. On page 8, diplomatic pressure as African nations threaten retaliatory action. Yesterday, rep members spoke tough. What's his name now? Oshomole actually went viral for the things that he demanded on the floor of the House. We get to bring you that audio as we progress in the conversation. Nest Oil, we are not responsible for banks' failure to pay dividends, on page 20. And now above the nameplate of the paper, banking colossus Jim Ovia retires as Zenith Bank chairman, on page 19. Alleged school plot, over 10 million naira paid to me was for prayers. Islamic cleric insists. That's on page 9. Now we pay for prayers.
That's
amazing
interesting.
Stuff.
Interesting.
On page 21, 2027, Wike settles for George Kelly Chinda as APC PDP Gabber aspirants. That's according to a source. And at this point, I'm asking, how is Wike having candidates in 2 different parties?
No, he had said it. He said in River State there's no PDP APC. They have PDAP. That's what he called it. Is it PDAPC that he has in River State? And he appears to be the commander-in-chief of the 2 political parties. So either way it goes, whether PDP wins or APC wins, he's still in control. He wants to maintain his political dynasty in River State.
Interesting. FG sanctions 147 officers, destroys 1,167 films, and crackdown on prisons contraband. That's on page 9.
Okay, so that very story on, FG sanctions, 144 147 officers destroying contraband items in prisons. And so I was asking on the microphone, is this not an indictment of on the Nigerian prison service that in a place like prison, which is supposed to be a restricted area, a very confined area, that these things were able to find themselves into the prisons to the point that they were able to confiscate 1,167, phones, smartphones, plenty of things that were smuggled in there, including hard drugs. And this confirms what a journalist sometime uncovered when he disguised as a crime perpetrator. He was arrested. He found himself into the prison, and he was able to do undercover story talking about Fisher Ashoyombo. And he talked about how people can pay. Why you are a prisoner, but you can pay warders. Ask them, go out and get me hard drugs, and they will go out, get you hard drugs, bring the hard drugs to you while you're in the prison. So just like an exposure of the kind of rot we have in this our system. Then let's go back to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper to look at the headlines. The big story there says 17 reps, one senator follow Kwankwaso Obi to NDC. That story is on pages 4 and 16. The writers say ADC reviews timetable, fixes presidential primary for May 23rd. Begs nomination form at 90 million naira. Special convention holds May 26. This one says alleged coup. I was misled. Presidential villa staff says in video statement. The story is on page 3. Customs intercept 2.35 billion naira cocaine. Ghanaian loud. Others on page 27. Recovers 5.5 billion naira in Ogun Ondo, Lagos, Oyo. That's the writer to that very story. Court acquits former head of service Oyo Ita others of 570 million naira fraud charges on page 4. On the head segment, early cannabis use linked to slower cognitive development in teens. Studies saying so. That story is on page 30 of Nigerian Tribune. UN, EU, AU, ICJ world leaders petitioned over xenophobic attacks in South Africa on page 30. He has a rider, Ababio, to lead fact-finding visit to South Africa Parliament. Digital register. Opposition parties in last-minute rush to beat INEC deadline. The story is on page 2. It has a rider, senators, reps, gubernatorial aspirants move across parties ahead of Sunday deadline. I think it's on May 10th. That's the deadline for the submission. So anybody who wants to move across parties, they have between now and they possibly on Saturday, depending on when the party wants to submit its own register. Then the stories we have above the nameplate. Jimovia retires as Zenith Bank chairman after 12 years. Page 5. Mustafa Bello takes over. That's the rider. Court orders interim forfeiture of 9 Abuja properties linked to ex-Governor Silva on page 27. And the last headline says, Senate amends rules, limits leadership positions to ranking principal officers on page 27. And the writer says, governors, others, iron seat short out. And this very story, people are already, throwing accusing finger at the likes of Ojus Okalo, who might want to vie for a principal office in the 11th Senate, because if he returns, of course, he's going to be a ranking member. So for this very amendment they made to the standing order, only ranking senators, people who serve or people who are serving in the current 10th Assembly, and if they return by next election, they'll be the one to be qualified for them to vie for any principal office in the Senate come next Assembly.
Quite interesting, I must say. Now let's go over to the Punch newspaper, where the banner headline is still on the mass exodus. Obi Kwankwaso exit rocks ADC. 18 lawmakers join NDC. Find the story on page 2. The writer here is Akpabio mocks opposition party amid exodus of Kwankwaso supporters. 23 ADC aspirants defect in Anambra. Interesting. 62 Nigerians detained in Uganda battle illness, infant hospitalized. On pages 4 and 5, Tinubu sends Tegbe Enika Nolaye for Senate screening. Page 7, opposition rift widens over sole presidential ticket. On page 2, Lovers rage, Lagos spa worker bathed with acid. On pages 4 and 5, customs nabbed 71-year-old with 2.35 billion naira cocaine hole. Oh my God. On page 20. And above the nameplate of the paper is Xenophobia Rao or Shomole 6 ban on MTN, DSTV on page 7. Coup trial, villa worker claims he was misled on page 8. INEC reopens nationwide voter registration Monday on page 10. And this is where we start off the conversation about not just, we're going to get to the next paper, absolutely. You know, we are not talking about just massively moving to a political party. Do you have the tool to actually work for that party at the end of the day, which is your voter card? All of that we get to talk about as the conversation progresses.
Okay, so let's get to The Guardian, which is the last paper I have this very morning. INEC resumes final phase of voter registration on May 11 on page 4. So Nigerians should take note. All those people who are saying, we vote for Mr. A, vote Mr. B, if you don't have voter card, if that card cannot be used, it becomes useless. Whatever you're going to say is going to be useless. If you are up to age, the time is now for you to go and get your voter card or even transfer to a place that is going to be comfortable for you. National Assembly decries xenophobic attacks in South Africa, urges diplomatic action on page 4. Price installs off-take of 40.2 million barrels of crude oil by local refiners on page 4. And the big story is on page 6. It says, back to school. Cost pressures mount as families struggle to keep children in school. And you can see like a breakdown on the front page of this very Guardian newspaper, where it's titled, Nigeria's Education Under Siege, the Impact of Global and Local Economic Crisis. And you can see those things that are eating the money of Nigerians and mounting pressure on their pockets. Then this one says, IGP creates one crime, or rather new crime response unit, flays rule violations on page 30. Are we going to have that change we need in police or that reform by, maybe disbanding an existing unit and creating a new one?
Of the same staff that are constituting nuisance?
I don't know, because we have found ourselves in this very habit whereby an IGP comes, either disbands one unit or the other, reorganize at the end of the day. If an event can backward. Then this one says, opposition fractures widen as 20 lawmakers defect in National Assembly on page 6 of The Guardian. And this one says, court awards 100 million naira damages against Serap in DSS defamation suit on page 5. And the last one says, Zenith Bank's shareholders get 410.69 billion naira dividend. Bello succeeds Ovia as chairman. That story is on page 4 of The Guardian newspaper.
And just to let you know, we are live on Facebook. Udala Radio 104.7 FM is our handle. Drop your comment right under the video of the show. And now we are starting off with a conversation here in Anambra, and that is the talk about appointments that have been made by the governor, Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo. Now, according to this report, there have been nominations for commissioners and also some board chairmen. We have the likes of Ben Odemena for agriculture, Chukwu Kadibi Okoye for budget and economic planning, Udoji Amedu for culture, entertainment and tourism, Ekeno Ogogoa for education, Clem Agui for environment, Isochukwu Okafo for finance, Afam Obidike for health. Afam Obidike is making a return. Lawmefo for information and value reformation, making a return. Tobechukwu Nweke for justice and attorney general. Alphonse Amuchazi for lands. Vinezaka for local government and community affairs. Charles Ofebu for petroleum and mineral resources. Chijioke Ose Local Ojukwu for physical planning and urban development. Kashmir Agumadu for power. Okeezobi for works and infrastructure, Eddie Ibuzo for transport, Esther Onyekese for women affairs and social development, and Patrick Ahamba for youth development and sports. Ahamba is also making a return, and also we have Alphonse Amuchaze from the Lands Commission making a return. Also, we understand that 3 board members have been, or 3 board chairmen rather, or agencies. I think I'm mixing this up.
Yes.
Agency directors now, right?
Yes.
Agency directors, that's the word. They have been nominated. We have Anambra Road Traffic Management Agency, Anambra Information and Communication Technology, and OCA Capital Territory Development Authority. So for ATMAC, which is the Road Traffic Management Agency, we have Emeko Konkwo We have Fred Abata for the ICT, that's the Communication Technology Agency, and Osita Onuko for ACTDA, that's the Oka Capital Territory Development Authority. And so, Tony, let's look at these individuals. I mean, we cannot start extracting them one after the other, but, you know, having an understanding of the new faces. The boy, the fish magnet, who was killed in Oka a few months ago, I understand his mother is now the new Commissioner for Women Affairs. And we're looking at what we used to have and what we now have. What are your predictions?
Well, we first and foremost say congratulations to them, just like we said sometime last week. And it was last week we were talking about this, and I did say that the names will be out by the end of that week or beginning of this week. And it happens the way I said it. Just like I have always said, it is the prerogative of the governor to make nominations, and these nominations are expected to be confirmed by the State House of Assembly. If you go by the provisions of Section 192, subsection 3, any person appointed, shall not begin to perform the functions of that office until it has been declared his assets and liabilities, which we are also going to expect, and has subsequently taken and subscribed the oath of allegiance and oath of office. That's for Section 192, subsection 3. If you look at Section 192, subsection 2, you find out that that section gives the governor the power to make such nomination. Any appointment to the office of commissioner of the government of a state shall be made by the governor of the state. Of course, they have been asked to come forward with 15 copies of their curriculum vitae and other documents expected, and also tax clearance. Well, these things are to be done, and the State Assembly has also done its own work by apportioning days of their confirmation. About 4 or 5 persons making a return out of the 18 we saw. And Chisom pointed out about 4 of them, lands, youths, and youth development, and they also have information and health. These are the standouts. They are making a return. Then we have also other new persons, and we talked about the new commissioner or the commissioner nominee for Women Affairs. And also you look at the fact that she, until her appointment, she's still the Abga women leader, state women leader, Anambra State. Of course, that's what she is. We noted the time she convened, was it a summit or there was a gathering of women, and we saw that at the regional secretariat, and she put crowd. But the woman who lost her son, some people may think it's a case of compensation. The woman has been in politics. She has been in politics. You know what it means to be the women leader of a political party. She has been, in fact, that event, I was passing through that angle the period she hosted that event. The crowd I saw there, it
was quite impressive.
Very impressive, mammoth crowd. And it was her own making. She pulled women from different communities.
And so people are looking at impact, Tony, and I think one of the conversations that have been raised about the change in that particular ministry is impact. It's one thing to have attention. It's one thing to have actual impact. And so do you think that she is, Mrs. Esther, she's well positioned to make actual impact outside of the attention and the shenanigans on social media?
Well, we saw how the son was gruesomely murdered. Probably that must have also prepared her for the job. How do I mean? We are talking about women affairs. I think she knows what the mothers pass through, especially in the hands of different oppressors, challenges, the economic and social hardship we of course so far in the country. I wouldn't say, but I know very well that mentally prepared she is. But just like you said, it's all about impact. It's all about impact. The last time we had Ifeobinam who was there, many liked what she was doing based on the fact that she was communicating with the people at all time, intervening, being at the critical areas. But there was a time I had conversation with Frank. Frank was telling me that there are things that were still lacking, that there are things that we're not able to put in place to make everything seamless. Maybe he's here, he's going to talk about that. But the key thing is intervening, because we are talking about child trafficking. I watched a video yesterday, and that video from what's that guy's name? The guy that is muscular, that is popular.
Where?
Dark man, yes.
Is a very dark man.
Of course, that was a video, and a lady was making disturbing confession, as far as the video is concerned. And if you look at that confession the lady was making, there were those somewhere at Aba, there were trafficking unborn and newborn. Once you are pregnant and possibly you are in need of money, they will pressure you to sell even your unborn child to them to sort out your financial challenges. I couldn't believe this. In fact, the lady was actually saying that there was a time I think a couple. Yes, there was a time a couple, they were having challenges of conceiving, that is conception challenges, but she was asked to be the surrogate mother. But at the end of the day, she was afraid. But the woman, the wife of the man, agreed that she will be meeting the husband so that they will conceive naturally. But they signed an agreement that the child she wouldn't ask for, she would never ask for the child, and she will be settled. A woman facilitated that. But the same woman, when she was able to conceive and give birth to her own child, the woman was invited based on the fact that they were having financial challenges. The woman gave her money, and before you know it, ran away with the child. So what am I trying to say? Child trafficking is a reality. Child trafficking and abuse of minors. And there are a lot of things going on in this country. So she has to step in those areas. Set up a network to track these people. You don't wait for you to be alerted. You must be proactive. You track them. Go after them. Put out network tentacles around different communities to go after these people. We've seen where underage are being pushed to prostitution. You step in there. There are a lot of things going on. So there's so much work to be done. But she has to step. Don't be reactive. Because for me, the person who was there before, she did very well. But most times, she was reactive. She stepped in when there was a case. But I would want situations where you go after these people, track them, even not being alerted, using your local intelligence, community intelligence. These things are real.
Okay, so I'll come back to that very well, because why I'll come back to that is that it's like an area for me, because I've been involved in gender issues advocacy in Anambra State. So I understand working is there, but I'll come to that very well. Let me just quickly run through a few things, because so far, yesterday we saw 18 nominees sent to the Anambra State House Assembly. If you add it to the 3 heads of agencies which were sent earlier, that was 2 days ago, or not sent, which I'm talking about the 3 heads of agencies who we appointed 2 days before. So if you add it to 18, we are having 21. Then if you add it to the initial 14 that the governor appointed, so we now have a total of 35 persons who have been appointed to help the governor to run his second term. So we can say that the cabinet is already growing. Now, if you look at the breakdown in terms of gender, you will see that we have 5 women out of 35 persons who have been appointed so far. If you are going to run the percentage, it's around, I think it's around 14.2%. So I'm talking about the total we have now, 35 persons already.
And there are 5 women. Okay, it's a little over 10%.
So it's 14.2%, which is encouraging. But if you're going to compare it to what is globally recommended, like about 30% or thereabout, it falls short. But of course, we know that the entire cabinet has not been composed. So other appointments are going to be made. By the time they are made, we are going to sit track and see what the percentage is going to be like. Among the women, of course, we have a Commissioner for Women Affairs nominated. We have the person who is heading the Special Advisor on Innovation and Business Incubation, Chingo Koli. She's there. They talk about Deputy Chief of Protocol Office, Ngozi Okoye, Head of Service, Barrister Ngozi Uwono, then SSG, Mrs. Chamaka. These are the people who have been appointed. Now, let's go to the names that were submitted yesterday. I've gone through the names, 18 of them. Yes, I must say that for the fact that the governor chose to drop Commissioner for Agriculture, for me, it was gladdening, because in the past 4 years, I do not know what actually we did, apart from, the seedlings we shared, cassava stick that we are shared to some people who are in cooperative and what have you not. But me, I wanted an agricultural impact that everybody can feel and talk about it, whereby these places we have in Anambra State that can feed the state, the potential can be harnessed. If Idogware produces so much of okra, I do not know if we are aware. So you talk about Oka North, they have arable land. You talk about the Ayam areas and what have you not. I want to see a Ministry of Agriculture that will be able to, create policies that can help these very people to harness their potential. I want to see whereby Anam will be able to feed the number of states from the yam they cultivate, from the potato they cultivate, other than we depending on what we get to bring from some other places for us to feed. I want to see whereby some parts of Okano to be able to produce watermelon because the area is fertile for it. It does well there. And then talk about the budget and economic planning. Chiamaka Nake has moved to coordinate the government. So we now have a Chukadibi Okoye, also a good fit. Then talk about Clem Sagui for environment. Clem Sagui one time served as TC chairman in Dunukofia, and he contested the last mayoral primary election, which he lost. So now he's coming into the cabinet. We have for health. I'm glad that he has returned, Dr. Afumu BDK, because in the first term, he was able to do things that were impressive. We have at least people can talk about and feel what he's been able to bring in there. Then the Commissioner for Information and Value Orientation, our brother, of course, is going to continue from where he stopped. Then the Attorney General of the state, so far, the first step he took, I think he has something to show Anambra people. Because one of the things he did, in fact, he led the state councils on the case of some persons who have been held in custody for a long time, going to represent the state. The case of Momelia Flanya. And he has also asked for lawyers who can give their services on pro bono to come and help the state so that they can help to dispense justice quickly for many people who have been held in custody for a long time for just minor offenses. So we're going to watch him and see how he's going to bring in some policies and move that ministry forward. For Professor Amuchazi Alphonse, for lands, he was in the first term, and he's been able to introduce land digitalization. So let's see what he would do in the second term, whether he's going to take it a notch higher. Then for local government and community affairs, Collins Nwabunwande has gone, so he didn't return, and we now have Barrister Bin Ezaka, who is from Ihiala. The area is not new to him because, as we speak now, he's the current chairman of Local Government Service Commission, so he understands that very area. So let's see what he's going to bring on board. Then talk about Commissioner for Transport, Honorable Eddie Ibuzo. I heard he's from Onitsha, and that his chamber is even close to this very DMGS. So watch him and see what he's going to bring on board too. The one for youth development and sports, Mr. Patrick Gamba, is also from Onitsha here. So he came back to continue with his 1U2 skills. So if he's going to bring in, a new variation into what he's been doing so far, let's see. Then for physical planning and urban development, the Barrister Chijoke Oseloka Ochuku from Newi, I learned he's a great professional. I learned that apart from being in real estate, he's in private practice. He's been loyal to the likes of Mercy Eke, and just about two Big Brother stars he's a lawyer to, and what have you. So I can see, like, somebody can say, okay, arrays of stars or arrays of expected stars. So what is now left is for us to see what they're going to bring on board. The other good thing is that we have now seen Anambra State government creating a new ministry out of an existing agency. We now have a ministry for physical planning and urban development. So it's now a ministry to manage the affairs of urban planning. Let's see whether we are going to deal with this issue of indiscriminate siting of structures here and there without approval and what have you not. Then you now talk about the Ministry of Women Affairs, where we have a new person, and I understand the sentiment, the nuances that are out there. People are asking questions. So was she nominated because she can do it, or because it's a compensation for the fact that during the campaigns that she lost her son, who was murdered in circumstances unclear to us as we speak. But for me, I think for us to move beyond there, or move beyond that and then get to the issues, like Tony cited, that the past commissioner did the much she could do. In fact, I came across a post on social media where somebody tried to castigate her, and I saw about 300 comments. Out of those 300 comments, 200 and something were saying that she did well. So that tells you that in the minds of many people of Anambra State, and even people outside Anambra State, they were able to recognize what she did for that ministry. But for me, what was lacking under her watch is the fact that the ideas she brought on board, many of them were not institutionalized. Many of them were not put in a kind of a framework that could outlive her tenure. What she did was like a personal pet project that, as she is living, it might live with her. How am I saying that? She was so much involved in issues about violation of women's rights or maltreatment, what have you not. But there was something I found disturbing during her watch, which I didn't like. Under her watch, people used to watch on social media how she used to handle some cases and what have you not. Impressive, fantastic. But as somebody who was involved, at a point that something got me disturbed one time. There was a one case we handled at Enugu. We came across a small girl who was violated, and we intervened and took custody of the girl. And we called the State Ministry of Women Affairs. In fact, we called the commissioner herself. And what she told us was that we should find a way to get the girl to Oka. So we try to explain circumstances surrounding how we intervene. Can they send people from the ministry to come and take over the case? And nobody was sent. Now, why am I saying this? I discovered that during her time, there was no synergy between her office and people who were involved in advocacy for women's rights and people who were fighting against gender-based violence. In Anambra State, we have so many CSOs who are into it, but these CSOs did not work in synergy with the Ministry of Women Affairs under her watch. Now, these CSOs, most of the interventions are being funded by ROLAC, which is a European Union funded project. Money comes from abroad to fund the very project. And when I mix up with these very people who are doing this intervention, you see the pain they pass through for it to be able to do this. Most times they put in their personal money to be able to get justice for some persons who are abused, and no help was coming from the Ministry of Women Affairs. Sometimes we go for events and I'll be asking questions, where is Ministry of Women Affairs? And I'll be told that the ministry was invited and nobody showed up. At a point I began to hear the kind of politics being played between the commissioner and the PAMSEC. I don't know whether it was a supremacy battle, that sometimes he might send a letter through the PAMSEC, it won't get to the commissioner. Sometimes he sent through the people working with commissioner, it will take everlasting people. So what I'm saying in essence is, she did her best, but there were some loopholes that need to be closed. So the person who is coming in now has to find a way to create frameworks, policies, institutions that are going to outlive her. Because when you talk about women affairs, it's not all about women who are violated. There is a whole lot to be done. Now, under the past commissioner, there was this very skill center that was domiciled within the Ministry of Women Affairs. This skill center was meant to, young people can come there and learn skill. Women, young or girls, for instance, girls. It was meant for them to come there, they learn skills, they can be coached, they can be groomed. But under her watch, that skill center was stopped. It wasn't working. Then the issue of holding centers, because in our intervention sometimes when we go to intervene in cases, let's say somebody was raped and the CSOs get to intervene, sometimes you see that there is a need for you to take the victim away from an environment where she's been abused. And when you take the person away from that environment, you need to keep that person at a holding center so that you can have your eyes on that very person. We found that it was lacking. At a point in time, the state created one, but it has not been enough, because sometimes we have cases, you go to the center, it's already filled up, you don't even know where to keep it. So what I'm saying in essence is, the person that has been nominated should sit down, review what the outgone one did, what she did right, what she did not do right, then the gaps that need to be closed. She needs to talk to all those CSOs who are into gender-based issues in Anambra State, because they are going to share life experiences, life stories that can help her to move forward. They cannot work in isolation. They cannot work as if they are cats and dogs. They cannot work in a manner that just to get public approval, whereby managing the optics becomes the objective. No. It should be to do the genuine work, whereby we can see women being emancipated. I want to see the ministry do things around building women, even from the scratch. So there's a whole lot that ministry can do for women affairs, not just focusing on violation of women or violation of their rights.
All right, then. When we talk about women, I am particularly very, passionate about it. And like I said earlier, Tony, when I asked you about the new appointments, I was very particular about that one. I am hoping that in the coming days, we have, less politics when it comes to matters. Franklin, your experience is not isolated. I have also had a similar experience. I've been stood up a number of times when issues concerning some women were on the table. And so we're hoping that this time around, and like you said, actually, big ups to the outgoing commissioner. She did her best.
Yes.
But for every time that there is a new appointment, we hope to consolidate on the works of the previous administration. And like I would always say, if every administration ups the ante just a little bit more, would have better governance, gradually would get to the desired destination in terms of leadership. And so, leaving all of this now, Tony, let's go to politics. ADC has been having series of defections since Mr. Peter Obi left the party. Of course, Mr. Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. And of course, yesterday at the floor of the House, Senate President Godswill Akpabio read some letters of some persons that have declared interest to leave the party. I have some audios. Okay, let's start with this.
And declaration.
Give me a second. I think there's been a mix-up. Okay.
Resignation from ADC and declaration for Labour Party. Maybe all those defecting from ADC should just compile everything in one paper and bring, so that we don't keep announcing. Well, I think ADC is dead. Well, that depends on the constitution. Senator Shu is asking how many times can you defect in a month? Please, you have to ask Senator Parliament. Senator Lulu, as an elder statesman, the question is how many times can you defect in a month? Once. But maybe some have done 3 times. So that's why I'm saying, as a spirit director, that's the voice of the gods. I'm ready to keep announcing, but let us compile all, so that it doesn't look like a daily ritual. Let's compile the names. If you are defecting from Labour, you write all of you. If you are moving from ADC, you write all of you. If you are entering NDC, you write all of you. And then if you are going to a court, you write. This is neater that way than one name.
Okay, and that's the first.
I write this letter to notify you and my distinguished colleagues of my decision to resign my membership of the African Democratic Congress. You know you approve you're going there. The last time you came, we told you take it easy. It's effective immediately. Accordingly, I have joined the Labour Party. Okay. We have moved from ADC to Labour Party. My decision, Mr. President, is anchored on the now known leadership crisis rocking the ADC, occasioned by the multiple legal she's besetting the party. And then no other explanation. You didn't even say that you consulted your constituents. All you are saying here is please accept the assurances of my highest regards. Yours truly, Senator Engineer Abaribe. I heard their sound. So, Clark, note that Senator Abaribe has moved from APGA to ADC, and now he has moved from ADC to Labour Party. If he brings an eyeball, I won't announce again.
Well, I'll call this a very humorous sitting. But one thing that stood at the center, Tony, is the fact that with the Obi exit from ADC, we have lawmakers exiting. We have a lot of people also joining the party. We understand that in a space of about 24 hours, there's been over 9 million registrations on the party's website. And I am going to be putting this together with some other political developments, talking about voter revalidation, which is set to start again this month, the final phase actually. And so let's look at these movements to the NDC, courtesy of Obi's movement to the party. What you make of them, and of course, you're looking at the numbers now, do you see them actually translating to figures at the polls come 2027?
Well, I think I've said it many times that results at the polling units, which we expect to be transmitted to INEC portals and declared as expected, these are things that determines who wins election, not what we see on social media. There's no doubt. We are talking about 17 defectors yesterday at the House of Representatives. If you look at that, if you go into the chamber on the floor of the House, in the House, 17 of them moved from ADC to NDC. And if you look around those who defected, apart from one Tedeus from Etiosa, I think Tedeus Atta, who was representing Etiosa Federal Constituency. Then the rest, they were either from Kano, Anambra, majorly. Kano and Anambra. These were the people. I think there is somebody from River State.
Yes.
Monashimo Manushimu Umezurike, representing Port Harcourt's one federal constituency.
I think somebody from Lagos too.
And then we also have somebody from, I think that person, Ochodi Solo. Ochodi Solo, Jesse Okejo, Onwa Klose. He's an Igbo man anyway. You remember, many people don't even know that there is an Igbo man representing Oshodi, a Solo federal constituency, on the floor of the federal house. Many don't even know there's an Igbo man that does that. And we also look at, apart from, I think, Afamo Victor Ogene, or Waru, he defected. Just like I said earlier on, majority of them we are mainly from Anambra and Kano, with few coming from Lagos, Rivers, and Edo. There is somebody from Edo State, Murphy Osaro, or Mori, from Ego, Iboba, Oka, federal constituency in Edo State. He defected. So you find out that somebody from Edo State, and 2 persons from Lagos State, 1 person from River State, rest came from Anambra and Kano, as we have. What is expected? They all moved from African Democratic Congress, ADC, to NDC. And we know why they left. They left because of Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. Those who defected from Kano, they did so because of Kwankwaso. From Anambra and some part of Edo and Lagos, probably because of Peter Obi. That's what happened. Mabio was actually making a mockery, saying that ADC is dead. Of course, he's just like his usual self. And when he said it, he started laughing, and many thought that he was actually speaking the truth. But the truth remains that probably the vitality in ADC seems to have been decapitated. The vitality. But I wouldn't say they are dead, because you still have likes of Atiku and also Amechi. But even when you may think that Amechi may not be that very powerful in that party, nobody's talking about Irufai, who has been incarceration. Why these things are happening? Defections, of course, I've seen Chris Makunwosu yesterday resigned. The state chairman-elect, He has not even been inaugurated, but he has left. But I think he was very sincere in his resignation. I think he's the most sincerest person. He said why he resigned is because he wanted to support Peter Obi to see to his actualization. But others were saying because of litigation, because of unending litigation. Tell us why you are defecting. Don't tell us because of unending litigation. It was only Chris Makunwosu who stated why he is leaving the party. But you know, you can't say on the floor of the house that you are leaving because of this. Based on the constitution, if the political party upon which you were elected, but they were not elected under NDC. They were not elected under ADC. But the constitution says the political party upon which you were elected has factionalization. And there was never a time constitution envisages that you can defect like 2 or 3 times. If you ask the framers of the constitution, it was never in their imagination that you can leave after the first time, you stay in another party, you leave again.
At such short period.
Within short period. That tells you how feeble our democracy is. But it's what it is. It is what it is. I've said many times that there is need for amendment of that very section. You must stay in the political party upon which you were elected. I've said it not because of what happened yesterday. I'm not talking about it. I've been saying this before now. You see how APC all of a sudden get majority because of defection. During when they were all inaugurated, when they were sworn in, they don't have or they never had all these outright majority. No, it was through defections. Even it is so in the case of Senate. I don't know. At this point, APC seems to have about 80-something senators.
And I'm not too quite sure of
that. I read 86 thereabouts.
That is to tell you, that is overwhelming majority. And we're going to talk about what happened yesterday on the floor of the Senate. They were just, these guys, I don't know, many of them after long vacation, relaxation of muscles, flexing, they will come back and start talking about South Africa, what happened some days back. And you are reminding us what we have forgotten and moved on.
We haven't moved on. We haven't. We would get to South Africa, Tony, but let's stay on politics now. Let's stay on the movement to NDC. What do you make of it? We understand over 10 million people have registered as members of the party.
Is it 10 million?
Yes. According to the website, yes. I had to verify. I read about 9 million plus the last time I checked, but right now it is reported that there is a report that over 10 million Nigerians have registered as NDC members within 48 hours.
I personally doubt that very
I
figure.
doubt that
personally,
figure.
Unless if there is,
I will shake.
unless if there is any analytic I can use to personally verify.
I've been trying to see if I can get on the party's dashboard.
Because
and see
why I'm saying this is this. Why I'm saying this is Peter Obi moved to NDC on Sunday. Peter Obi and the Pampaso. And from that very moment, we have seen movement. From that moment till now, that should be how many hours? Okay, we're counting about 3 days, right?
Yeah, 72 hours.
And I know that after the move, because of the number of people who were trying to hit the registration portal, the portal had a problem to the point that they had to, they had like a shutdown. And they even put out a message saying that they were upgrading. People should give them till 10 a.m. on Monday morning for them to begin registration. So we believe that they had sorted that thing out. So for them to have been able to register 10 million between Monday and now, I don't know the kind of facility they are using for them to have been able to do this, but the figure looks,
it looks exaggerated.
Yes, it looks questionable. Of course, I'm not doubting that they have not been able to register people, but the number 10 million not be being so.
Well, I'm just right over there. I'm just trying to make my findings and also do the fact checking and see if truly that is the case. But I'm just trying to find out the total number of NDC members as we have on their websites. So it's important that we don't bandy figures because we are looking at such a figure. For me, even ADC never had such number. ADC, they were all coming from, never had such number.
Well, I have tried to verify from their website, and everything I see is pushing me towards registration. And unfortunately, I'm not allowed to do that. But let's stay away from the figures now. We've seen massive movements into that party, Tony.
All right,
what
I think
do you make of it?
what we have here, because just like you said, I opened the website, it will just be asking you to register. But as of May 6th,
the figure is unverified.
Publicly displayed, is 0 million. 0M means below 1 million. That's registered members. I'm just trying to use a tracker to find out. But we are being told that the reported membership figures from recent news over 1 million registered members, that is BBC Pigeon Report, citing the NDC website. The claims of 6 million, 9.3, over 10 million registration in 24 hours after Obi and 1.2, they are just Facebook. I've just confirmed these things are Facebook posts, according to the tracker and AI I'm using. The 6 million, 9.3, these things are Facebook posts. But BBC Pigeon Report, just over 1 million. But from the tracker, from the website, it just has the website have 0M means not up to 1 million.
Okay, so Tony, let me add, because I think that people who pushed out the narrative of reaching up to 10 million people from that Sunday to now, they got the information wrong, because what is the actual thing is that they have moved from having about 9.something million members to about 10 million. You get so that's the actual information. So they have been able to register within the limit of about 1 million more people, not actually 10
We
million.
are talking about registration. We're not talking about membership. So just like I said earlier on, if you go to the website still indicates 0M. 0M means below 1 million. But from the report we are told, according to BBC says over 1 million. That's what BBC says. Then every other thing you see about 6 point something, 10 million, 9 million, those ones are people who are just making those posts, and it's just propaganda anyway. It's just a way of trying to tell people that this is where it is, that it is happening here. So I've just confirmed that now.
All right, then. We're talking about the movement and what it signifies now, Tony. I mean, looking at the fact that all of these figures are being bandied and all of the defections are now happening. Do you see would I call it Obi effect? Is that what these people are chasing? Looking at what happened in 2023, where people who never thought they could inch anywhere close to ballot boxes or ballot papers got not just close to ballot papers, but even got elected. Is this what these people who are moving to the NDC now are also chasing?
Well, many people have interviewed. Many of them were saying that they are so concerned about New Nigeria, that things are not working. And one was telling me, you know what, that he bought for 1,350 naira or thereabouts. That in a country that God has blessed with such deposit, God has blessed us with mineral deposit, and we are selling the same deposit as if we had nothing, as if we are not blessed, as if we don't have this mineral deposit in our own country. That most countries who have these things, they don't sell at the price we sell. You look at Angola, you look at Saudi Arabia, you look at Venezuela, they don't sell at the same price because they have these things in their backyard. But the point remains that we know very well that the country is just trying to regain its feet. And if you ask majority of people why they are where they think they are going, they will tell you they want a better Nigeria. That's what they will tell you. And if you look at their principal, Mr. Peter Obi, that's what he has promised them. But nobody is asking if he has the capacity. They will tell you that while he was in Anambra State, that he was able to do one or two things. He was able to change the narrations. If not, they wouldn't have followed him. And remember, one thing is very sure. To captivate people, tell them what they want to hear. You may not tell them the truth, but tell them what they want to hear. And where people would want you to speak against government, either government in power, even when they get it right, still say that they are not getting it right. Even when they get it wrong, still say they are getting it wrong. Tell people what they want to hear. You become their messiah. And especially why you don't blame them, because they have seen the bad side of, in fact, they have seen it all. Just like in Anambra, why he was able to push followers around him was because he was telling people what they want to hear. The same applies to Peter Obi. He was telling people what they want to hear. If when you say that, oh, some of the things he said, we are true and some are not true, people don't want to care. For them, everything he said is true. Why that is because of prolonged frustration, prolonged hardship, prolonged economic meltdown. Things are not working. For me, I don't know. If you look at yesterday, many Nigerians, when Arsenal was playing their match, I bet how many people were able to watch it. I bet because there could be no electricity in some parts.
And for some persons, they can no longer afford to pay cable TV subscription.
That is the point. Some usually go to viewing center and they will all gather there. They will cluster there because of economic situations. And for people, they are fed up. They will tell you any alternative can work. Any alternative. And that is why it is what it is. You don't fault them. You don't blame them because they have seen it all. When you ask why are people trooping in that direction, I have just explained. But I have always cautioned because not all that glitters, like we always say, is gold. And not if Akinu Danante. But people will tell you, we don't care. When you tell them play with caution, they will tell you who is better off. And at a point, they will even equate it. That is, if let's assume these are the two evils, but there is lesser evil. That's what they will tell you. Let's assume that politicians are all evil. Then amongst them, there is even a lesser one, and they prefer that lesser one. Well, it is left to be seen. My concern is, even President Bola Tinubu has the opportunity to change the narrative, to make people to talk about him. The question is, has he been able to do that? During the election day, we'll get the answer. And possibly, we pray for free and fair election. For Peter Obi, he has made promises. The most promises he made could be akin to what APC made in 2014, 2015. They promised heaven.
Oh, well, 2023 was not an exception. Here we are.
No, I'm saying.
Almost at the end of the administration, and we cannot boast.
Some said if we don't give you electricity, stone us. In 6 months. I think it was Factual that did that very statement. Some say, what triggered the protest in 2011? I mean, January 1st, 2012. What triggered it? That Jonathan increased pump price from, was it 87 naira or 97 naira? Sorry, 87 naira, they're about to 100 or something. They said, what? Those we found in APC, they went on protest. They were in the streets telling Nigerians, you own this product, these things are in our backyard, you don't need to buy it at that amount. That, why can't he fix refineries? Promises were made. Some say that it's a question of this, it's a question of that. Today, where are we? That's why I said
it is what it is.
My concern is we have to be cautious of promises being made. It is not as easy as many of us may think, but good leadership, when you see one, people will tell you, like there are those that will tell you, yes, if you go to Abia State now, something is happening there. Why they will tell you that? Because they feel that who was there before couldn't do much. And the little OTs, even though exaggerated, they believe that it wasn't so before. Yes, exaggerated. I've said it many times with facts and figures. Our own is, if you doubt whatever I'm saying, please fact check me. I'll give you the raw facts. I don't mince words. But the truth is, people will be allowed to make their choices. Let them, I've said it many times, but for those who are going for Peter Obi, allow them. It is their right. But for those who think it is the other way around, APC, still allow them. Don't malign them. Don't curse them. Don't render cause. If they feel that the problem there, because during the time of Buhari, I remember I met one, would I call it Aboki? I thought Aboki. Haba. Things are hard. Buhari was president then. Things at that time were hard. I told Aboki, come next election, because Buhari was going for second term. Are you going to vote for Buhari? He said, Kamara, say Buhari. I said, you are still suffering. You are saying, say Buhari. Meaning, what that means that he is still blinded, but he's still entitled to his choice.
Is it blindness or the ethnic politics?
I don't know. Whatever be the case, because we have the same market. We don't have market for Christians, Muslims. We don't have market for Southwest, South. It's the same market, the same economic figurations and then configurations, the same currency, the same exchange value, everything. But if you say Buhari, and you want me to curse him, I will not curse him. I will not malign him. But I will simply tell him, You will live by the choices you do what you make.
Okay, so, Tony, let me say something. Chisholm was asking whether the experience we had with an Hausaman, whether it was about ethnic politics or being blinded. It could be any of them, but let me also shock you. Do you know, in Nigeria, many of us don't even know what good governance is all about. If you ask them to measure who is performing or not, they measure based on what they have benefited. Let's say, oh, last Christmas I got a piece of wrapper from him. That becomes their measurement of the person is performing. And so I mean, that is their measure. In a Kokumaka SDG or whatever and do it, yeah, they don't understand it. What they know about is what is that very small thing. Oh, that person paid school fees for my child. That's the measure of good governance. Now, coming to the other area is, if you look at the names of those who left ADC or even other parties to NDC yesterday, like Tony pointed out, in fact, virtually all the Anambra federal lawmakers who went into ADC with Peter Obi, they've left except Tony Moye. So I don't know. Do you see him moving, or maybe he might choose to stay back in ADC? That's number one. Then the number two is looking at the ADC, because ADC was never in the mix. Let's say a month ago, it was never in the mix.
ADC or NDC?
NDC. It was ADC. But now NDC has come into the mix because Isiafu Kwabo Buso to say has moved into NDC. And everybody's now saying NDC. We're not getting attention on NDC. If you look at the records, they will tell that the NDC has presence in all the 36 states of the Federation. But in reality, when you begin to go to this very state to see their presence, you see that they don't have offices. Now, in Anambra just had what I might call a congress, and somebody was elected. I think that was 2 days ago or yesterday. Somebody was elected. The name elected, sorry to say this, but the name elected, if you begin to talk about politics in Anambra State, the name might not ring bell. If you go to Enugu also had a congress. Somebody was elected, former Labour Party, Guba candidate, chairman, secretary. Somebody who left APC and moved into the NDC became the secretary. Then, if you begin to go to other states, you might see different scenarios in this very state. And the truth is that whether we like it or not, party operation is dependent on structures across states and across world level. Whether Nigerians are going to join NDC without being part of the party is immaterial. But for you to deliver and protect your vote,
you need structures.
You need various structures. So for NDC now, what is next for the party? If they're going to avoid what happened in 2023, because in 2023, the same thing people said, that Obi did not need any structure for him to win, that they were going to vote for him whether they belong to party or not, and they did. But eventually, on the day of the election, we saw the caution that was sounded early enough. People voted, you go to different polling units, there were no agents. And guess what? When you don't have any agent in a polling unit and you want to go to court, what are you going to go to court with? Who is going to be your witness?
Who is going to even bring the
duplicate of the
result?
Do you understand?
So challenge what you want to challenge.
So that's what I'm saying. For NDC
49,000 polling units.
So for NDC, what is the next thing they should be doing that Obi and Co should be engineering, so that they'll be able to guard against repetition of what happened in 2023? That's number one. Then for Obi and Co, people will argue that he's not going to bribe INEC. He's not going to hire thugs. He's not going to pay security agents or hire people to, steal ballot boxes. People might say this. But can you say this for your opponent? Then if you cannot say that for your opponent, do they have any plan to counter or confront whatever that might come from the ruling party? Sorry.
Well, just like I have said many times, that politics is not a game of emotion. Yes, if you are supporting anybody, you must show that in many ways, not by being vocal, sending posts on social media. When we open the phone lines, we say whatever you want to say.
It doesn't end on social media. It doesn't end virtually.
No. It ends at the polling unit. And just like I've always said, it must be organized, it must be structured for Governor Soludo to have 21/21 and 73% of the total valid vote cast, and also winning in almost 90-something percent, of the polling units. That is the structure. And the truth is, just like we have maintained many times, let not what happened in 2023 repeat itself. From what we are seeing, we have begun to see repetition. In 2023, prior election is closing down, I think less than a year or approximately a year to the election, Obi left PDP to Labour. And when he left Labour, just like we said yesterday, Batotomi was already the candidate of Labour, presidential candidate. He freely donated that to Obi. And when there was this momentum, and this momentum affected the party or blinded the party to the point that they were not so organized to form structures, as we have said many times. We are not able to have anybody around in 49,000 polling units. Remember, at that election, we had about 170,000 polling units. There were some reports that said over 50,000 polling units. What it means,
and that's about 30% of the...
That is just that. If you look at that, if you are going to court and say, this happened or that happened, nobody is there to say anything. Nobody could also take hold of the duplicate result. What that means, they could not even take a duplicate of results of that polling unit.
So there was nobody to defend the
Yes, there is nobody to even take it. Nobody was there to take duplicate of result sheet. And where you had PDP and then APC in that election, having polling agents at all polling units, in fact, virtually all, let's put it that way. And you have a Labour Party without that. And look at the score that they got. You can imagine if they had polling agents. Do you think that score will be the same? A lot happened. So we are seeing reputation. Time is there. Well, we're not going to tell any political party what to do or what to not to do. Our own is to state out facts the way they are. And our facts will not be to either diminish or promote or bring that. No. Our own is people should be allowed to make their choices. And I've said it many times. Politics is a game of wits. It's a game of checks. It's not a game of sure. You must do. After sure, what next? Do. If you stop at sure, that's for you.
Okay, let's also look at what happened at the floor of the House yesterday when Oshomole was blowing hot concerning the South Africa versus Nigerian crisis.
The Minister of Communication of the federal government to revoke the DSTV, which is also a South African company that is cutting away millions of dollars, even abusing, resorting to practices that will not even be accepted in South Africa. I don't want this Senate to be shedding tears to sympathize with those who have died. We didn't come here to shed tears, and I'm not going to shed tears. If you hit me, I hit you. I think it is appropriate in diplomacy. It's an economic struggle. What the black South Africans are saying is that Nigerians are taking their jobs. Okay, Nigerians, come home. I take over the job of MTN. Nigerians, come home. I take over the job of DSTV. When we hit back, the president of South Africa will not only talk, he will go on his knees to recognize that Nigerians cannot be intimidated, and we do not condone any one life being lost. If a crime has been committed under South African law, they have a right to bring any sort of person to justice. But to kill our people as if we are helpless, we are not. By the time we turn in the economy hardship, we withdraw MTN license, we revoke DSTV license. Those people coming from Nigeria, from South Africa will have good jobs to do. Let South Africa continue with their jobs. Then when we have this balance of madness, I believe there will be sanity, and we will kick our bilateral relationship in a manner that is a win-win. Right now, Nigeria trade deficit with South Africa. South Africa is the one benefiting. So my colleagues, let not turn this place a place of mourning and crying and lamenting. Let us bite in a manner that they will be the one begging. And persuade my colleague that when we come to prayers, we should include these two prayers. That MTN license be withdrawn that DSTV license be withdrawn. There are Nigerians who can provide those services, and they will employ those who are South Africa. You buy
the fact that is from owned by South African goes away, or these what's it called now, the cable television providers, if they go away, I'm not sure that we can handle it. I mean, look at what we did with the privatization in the power sector. We ended up making a mess of everything. The power sector has not been this bad since I can remember. But that is it on one side. Looking at the things that he asked for, do you think that is going to bring a solution to the madness? And even the fact that the South African government is not really handling this like it's expected.
Well, I'm actually shocked. I wanted to talk about this, but just like you said, we have to dedicate time for this. What happened sometime, what started around 28th of April, it's reacting on the 6th of May. What we have sleeping senates. What happened? I can't remember the last time we discussed this. There was a time we discussed this thoroughly. It's more than a week.
Last Thursday.
Maybe we discussed this very well, extensively. Nigerian Senate is coming after a week. Sleeping Senate. Retirement home is talking about it after a week. Mostly to their senatorial district. If it were in UK or countries like United States of America, even Rwanda, Kenya, they would have convened a special section for this immediately. That was not done. Many of them were holidaying. Look at, they came back from their holidays and they are sounding so serious. When Oshomole was making that very statement, do you know what was coming to my mind? What was coming to my mind, you have to forgive me, because this mind of a thing is very deep. There is a lady coming to my mind, and that lady is Leshan Dagama. That's the lady coming to my mind. And if you ask, who is Leshan Dagama? Remember, she's a South African influenced content curator who describes herself as a professional sugar baby. Remember the video around early February, which shows Senator Adams Oshomole giving her a foot massage on a private jet, and it went viral, sparking widespread reaction, though Oshomole claimed it was AI generated. But Dagama refuted that, confirming the encounter was real before deleting the original post. Dagama is from South Africa. Did anything go wrong between Oshomole and Dagama? Even though we may assume it's AI generated, even in that AI generated content, did anything go wrong to the extent that Oshomole was sounding the way he was sounding yesterday? But that's by the way.
I like to think that this has nothing to do with the woman. The fact that Nigerians are being, we've not had death casualties, but Nigerians are not having it easy. How do you walk into somebody's business premises and you loot the person?
The point is, we have discussed this. They came late. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Okay, then.
The Senate came late. And if you look at it, you raise important issue. Because yesterday, Oshomole was sounding lacrimose, dolorous, effusive, and asked that these licenses be withdrawn. He asked as if we are giving these licenses, we can operate it. Chop right, left. Tell me, has any Nigerian business been able to take over Chop
Last
right?
I checked, yes, there is a business working on it. I wouldn't want to make
No. There were some businesses that attempted, they did, but it failed, it collapsed.
No, as I speak to you, Tony, a particular brand that is one, it has branches in Oka, Abakaliki.
You don't understand the point I'm trying to make.
They're about to.
They're about to. They've acquired about 80% of the spaces.
When Chop right left, there were brands that took up the business.
I don't remember.
I'm telling you, maybe there were brands from Southwest. They took over the business under the same franchise.
Under the same franchise.
Yes, they took over the business. What happened? You think it's easy?
But then when you talk about the saga with that particular retail store, it had a lot to do with accumulated debt. And
we
this
know
is
the
something
problem.
we wouldn't want to go
It's
into right now.
foreign exchange issue. It's foreign exchange barrier. And sometimes some of these people, and you see how organized that business was. ShopRite, you see how organized. But that's by the way, let's not go deep into that. The point I'm trying to make is that since they left, no Nigerian business brand has been able to take over and perform the work very well. You talk about DSTV. In fact, if you take off DSTV as we speak now, many Nigerians will even stone you. Even MTN as we speak. Okay. And if you come to different brands, see, you don't have alternatives. Have you been able to fix your your energy crisis.
Can we go on a break?
South Africa has a better energy. Have you been able to fix it?
So you're saying
please, let's be
the fact that they seem better off than we are, and the Senate is coming late, doesn't also cancel out what is happening with Nigerians over
we have addressed that, and we have said that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of course, Bianca has started doing something.
They should have come a lot earlier. Sincere apologies. We have these commercials to go for.
Udala Radio, 104.7 FM.
Searching for a place to eat good food and still enjoy premium relaxation? Stanley Ward, Agwoka got you covered. Welcome to Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opriche Lounge, Agwoka, where taste meets class. From hot, delicious local dishes to mouth-watering African and continental cuisines, pepper soup, grilled meat, rice, drinks, and many more. Everything is fresh and satisfying. Step into Opriche Lounge, a calm, classy environment to chill, hang out, and unwind. Perfect for friends, dates, and after work relaxation. Chop well, drink well, and feel cool morning, afternoon, and night. Stanley SFF Restaurant and Opriche Lounge, a haven for good food, great vibes, top security, and steady comfort. For further inquiry, call 0814-565-6920 or 0813-855-8009.
Nebek Real Estate brings you opportunity that grow with you. Greenfield Estate, Oba. Just 1 minute from Owerri Road. Kings Court Estate, Ibiza, opposite Admiralty University. Purity Garden and Classic Estate, Asaba. Just 10 minutes from Asaba International Airport. Ikenga Luxury Estate, Ojoto. 7 minutes to Electrical Dealers Market, Obosi. Nebek. Invest today, gain tomorrow. Visit us at 25 Oka Road, Onitsha, beside Mandela, or Asaba Office 21 and 22, Brain Oil Mall, 295 ABC Road, opposite Lion House, Asaba, or call us on 080-3265-7455 or 070-1607-8648 or visit us at www.nebekgroup.com.
Are you looking for a perfect space to make your events unforgettable? From child dedications to weddings, concerts, birthday parties, crusades, or even corporate events. City Hall Entertainment Ventures presents City Hall, Awada, located at number 10 Ijala Street, near Ukebu Junction, Awada Obosi. With a 600 seating capacity, state-of-the-art stage, standard wash facilities, a massive parking space, 24/7 lighting, and proper ventilation and cooling system to keep your guests super comfortable. City Hall Entertainment Ventures, and even cooling equipment to make sure that all your drinks are chilled. For bookings and reservations, please call 0803-324-2806 or 0906-000-7617. Hurry now to number 10 Ijala Street, Awada for all bookings and reservations and get a 10% discount.
Quality bread, Wendy's bread, for your family breakfast. Wendy's bread, I'll pack it and it does yellow. Wendy's bread, mama, papa, they like Wendy's bread, chicken and do. Wendy's bread, even children, they like Wendy's bread. Wendy's bread, and in town. Wendy's bread, you get it better, tasty, we go sweet your belly. Wendy's bread, Wendy's
Wendy's bread, tasty bread. You can contact us on our official address, 2nd Business Park, Enugu Road, GRA, beside Onitsha, Anambra State. We also have another branch at St. Michael Plaza at Tandy Road. Also contact us on 070-1149-1571. Wendy's bread, your tasty bread.
Wendy's bread.
Ilu bụ mmanụ ndị Igbo ji eri okwu. Igbo proverbs, words of wisdom passed down through generations. Geenụ ntị. Onye fee eze, eze eruo ya. A man who pays respect to the great paves way for his own greatness. Always acknowledge those who have done great things before you. 104.7 Udala Radio.
You're listening to the Polity. Get involved now.
Get involved now. Put a call across to 0803-221-6973, 0803-87-6694. Good morning. You have a minute.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu.
Good morning.
Good morning, Franklin Ebuka and Chief Dr. Tony Orisambeki.
You're welcome.
My name is Ogochuku from Udi, Enugu State. Can I go on?
Go ahead, please.
What I want to say here is simple. I'm very, very happy by hearing that Peter Obi has jumped defect to NDC. It's a welcome development. Please, I want to use this opportunity to urge my people in the southeast to throw their weight behind this man 100%, because if you come to southwest, all of them has gathered together supporting Bola Tinubu. So Peter Obi is the most credible politician we have in this southeast as of today. It's very clear. No doubt about it. Let's support this. Let's support our own in this upcoming presidential election. Thank you very much.
All right then. Good morning.
Good morning, Chisom.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Franklin.
You're welcome.
Voice of Honorable Yedez, Okuku Mejesi, Okulola, Ochendo, Umueseneka Udano. I want to join my voice to the speaker that says that we have to throw our support on Peter Obi in that ADC. Because the way I see things, I don't even think that people is fighting for this 2027. I think he's fighting for 2031, so that he will be stabilizing Peter Obi. This is a plan deal, the right thing. So I think even I heard that he will get to NDC again. So we want to throw our support to so that we change the narrative. What we are doing is not giving Peter Obi a fair. But Nigeria has failed. We want to take it back. Thank you and God bless you.
All right. 0803-221-6973, 0803-827-6694. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Sunday calling from Gloria.
Good to have you, Sunday. Please go ahead.
My own is the question I want to ask.
Go ahead, please.
One question. I thought America labeled her as one of the sponsors of anti-Christian in Nigeria. Have they removed that at their line? Because I want to know. That one question we are going now with the Tito. At the time, about 3 months ago, I heard that America is one of the sponsors of killing of Christians at the international community. Have they removed what they say about it? It is still there. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chisom Chinedu, Franklin and analysts in the studio. Good morning. Anthony Meketa, this morning from Onitsha.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. The defection by Peter Obi to NDC has already also proven the kind of organic following and influence that he has. That happened when he moved to ADC and there was momentum. And this kind of organic followership is mind-boggling to everyone and even disturbing to opponents. And we have seen, sincerely speaking, whether we like or hate him, that the Nigerians, majority of Nigerians, they believe that although politicians are the same, they make promises and the rest. And that they have seen a man whom they can count on his credibility. So for me, there's no need of having headache on structure, on those who will do the do. It is because of the things that happen in our election. It is very, very ridiculous that when the election has not started, we are beginning to care about what will happen at the courts because we have judicialized our election. That is why we lamented when the Electoral Act was amended that there the real-time transmission, so that all these litigations, all these the doings they do in the election, it will save us all this stress. If elections are being won at the polling unit, I tell you, all this fear about doing the do in the election will not be the case. There's a section in the Electoral Act that says that the pointed out, this section 83, that even the presiding officer or the polling agent may not be called to account for what happened at polling unit. So you see, that is the unfortunate situation in our electoral system. So for me, if the election are decided at the polling unit, structure or no structure, party or no party agent, the people, election will be announced, and people will go to sleep, and people will believe this is the demand of the people. So for me, it is because of the decay in our electoral system. So we know where the masses, who the masses are pulling behind, what the masses want. So all these doings, we want to avoid it in our electoral period. When election is being declared by the umpire, people will go to sleep because this is the desires of their heart. So it's obvious for us. For me, I don't have a headache on that. My problem is the electoral act amended.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's hear somebody else. Good morning. Are you there? All right, then try to reconnect. 0803-221-697-30, 0827-6694. Let's do this in a minute, shall we? Good morning.
Good morning, my dear sister.
Good morning.
Am I not in Udala FM?
You are. We can hear you. Please go ahead.
All right. Okay. God be with you and peace be with you. I'm much concerned about the place we have a xenophobic attack in South Africa. Yes, that's one thing I said some time ago. And I will still repeat such a thing today. But let me just say one thing. Number one, whosoever is holding my son is challenging me directly. That is the truth. So the president of this country, Nigeria, is the person actually who is being challenged by South Africa and the president of other African or any other place that are doing. There's something I want to tell us. The Senate are very much alive. That's good. Thank you. Thank God for the person who has just commented about it. How can you tell me agency needs any break or holiday? Nothing. Yet, we are claiming to be leaders and good leaders, clamoring for 2027 without even finishing the level we are in. Now, I want to ask my president, what do you feel in this thing? What do you feel? What do you want to do? Are you actually trying to let people tell you what you will do? Number one, if these people who just registered that they want to come back are not yet rescued, please, urgently rescue them. Then, while rescuing them, I want to remind you now that we have many people who are not yet ready to come back from South Africa. Now, the people in South Africa and Nigeria may not just go at once. Actually, they benefit more in their country, South Africa, than in this country. They are just helping us. I'm telling you the truth, no matter the business of communication they have here. I'm telling you, if our people can do these things, why that refinery that would have been done here?
Okay, you need to round off now, please.
I will round off. That is to tell me, my Nigerian government, you are challenged. Don't go for any retaliation because we will have depends more. I'm telling you, let's go for diplomatic discussions and operations.
Thank you very much. Let's head over to Facebook now.
Okay, so from our Facebook page, we have Dr. Mrs. Lebra from Awura. She says, it's worrisome that our hard-earned democracy is being threatened. It's like rule of law and due process are on holiday. How can our leaders preach patriotism, rule of law and due process and turn around to go contrary? Where are we headed to? What I know is that the cause of justice never fails. For God is God of justice. And she says, after darkness comes victorious dawn. Victory over evil can only be temporary. Whatever we do today becomes history tomorrow. And like we know, history has a way of judging our actions. So let's be cautious in all we do, that history be kind to us in the long run. That's from Dr. Mrs. Lebra. Then Sebastian Abuge from an in federal constituency, and he says the statement credited to Senator Joseph Kalu to attend. Oh my goodness. Please,
You people are stressing Frank for me.
no, what I'm saying, I don't know. I don't know whether it's the unintended part of communication. Nobody said that Odis Okano was the one who talked about the principle that for you to vie for a principal office in the National Assembly in the next one, that you must be president member of this. He's not the one that said it. It was decided at the executive session, but people are suggesting that the likes of Kano might have engineered it. So please, let's get this in right so that we don't
Mix things up.
Okay. Then this one is from Arinze Ijimbwe. He says he posted from a Warren fan settlement. He says for Mr. Peter Obi's defection to NDC is a welcome development because Atiku Abubakar and INEC could have not given him the enabling playing ground. We only hope and pray that APC government will not destabilize NDC before 2027 election, as they are very much afraid of Mr. Peter Obi and now Kwankwaso. And Chimezie Steven says, okay, so you fail to understand that obedience are wise youth and understand that what happened in the last election. Okay, and understood what happened in the last election. Works are on the way to make sure that the votes will be protected. We are making sure our people get voter cards. I hope INEC office and officers will do their part to register new voters. Nigerians are wiser now. Ballot revolution on the way. Even APC government understand Peter Obi more than Tony. Okay. I said that's the reason he doesn't want Obi to be on the ballot. And then City Man says the former commissioner for women affairs did extremely well. I think this new appointment is for compensation. There is this case of full-grown man in my area sleeping with a 12-year-old girl last month. He was arrested, but after some few weeks, he's back in the street, and I don't feel safe about it. Okay, he's asking, please, I need directions on how to report to the right authorities. A city man from Sube. Okay, city man from Sube. Let me do this now. If you can go to Facebook, look for Dafina Foundation. If you go to Facebook now, if you look for Dafina Foundation, you can even chat Dafina Foundation. They can even give you proper directive. Or that's this very one I'm trying to remember. So that I can also direct it to that very one, so that you can just go there. They can pick up the case. Then this one is coming from Norbert. He says Peter Obi and the Kano are being followed simply because they are simply because of what they are and what they represent is open for everyone to see and verify, not because they are telling people what they want to hear. And Modum Dominic, watching from Japan, please, I would like you to next time just drop something. Modum. Then Tete Patrick from Newi South, that's all precisely. He says, yes, Mr. B has made promises and we believe he will keep to them. Example, in Anambra State, cutting down the cost of governance is one important thing we need, and change the way INEC boss is appointed. Let election be free and fair. One thing will come. This is what I think will. Okay.
I think we should leave it at that, Frank. Thank you for your calls, your contributions. Tony, your final words.
Well, what happened at the Senate yesterday, the changing of the standing rule to ensure that Hope Uzodinma does not take up the position of Senate President. It can be challenging courts because the Constitution says among themselves they will elect who becomes their leader. And for them to now restrict it to those who must have served 2 consecutive terms.
But it has been the procedure for all the while.
But then,
why does it have to change now? It's not written anywhere.
But
it's an unwritten rule.
Because the most important thing is this.
I think I've asked you this question before.
Yes. The point is you can't have such rule. The Constitution says among yourselves. Why would you now narrow it to 2 consecutive terms? And somebody who may have served the no. The idea is targeted at someone, and somebody may have somebody may have triggered that, and Akpabio does not want to in any way lose guard.
Lose guard. Franklin, your final words, please.
A final note, please. Whatever you want to do, wherever you are aligned to, whatever it is, the 3rd phase of voter registration is going to start on Monday, May 11, and it's going to end on Friday, 10th July. What that means is that if you're up to age, you can register. And if you want to change where you vote, you can do that. You can either do that physically, going to INEC office, or going online to do that. And also, by the time they are going to display these voter registers for you to go and confirm that your name is correct and everything is correct, please ensure that you're going to do this, because it's going to happen between July 23 and July 29. Ensure that you do what you're supposed to do. Keep on saying this thing. Election is not won by
social media popularity.
It's not about social media. It's not won by what you think or what you feel. On election day, a lot happens. So whatever you can do to ensure that you get to work for the person you believe in, whether it's Mr. A or Mr. B or Mr. C, whoever you believe in, whoever you want to align with, you have to put in the works. You have to put in work. Each time we talk about Nigerian election, we're talking about Nigerian reality we are seeing, not based on idealism.
Not based on what it should be.
What it should be. We know the ideal thing. But when you look at the Nigerian situation, how do you look at the situation? How do you now devise a means to handle it and ensure that you are not locked out?
Okay. I hope that you get to answer that question. How do you devise a means to go around it, so that this time around it won't be all wailing and probably an opportunity for the go to court mantra to repeat itself? Go get your voter card. Revalidation starts on Monday. Don't say you were not told. The Polity will make a return tomorrow 9:15 down to 11 a.m. Until then, I am Chisom Chinedu. Thank you for being here. I'll see you at 12:25 on the Polity. On the cherry box. Frank, what?
We missed a question somebody asked about Rabi Kwankwaso. So if we're going to clear it quickly now, we cannot say that US named him. What happened is that a lawmaker, a member in the House of Reps, Riley Moore, and then Chris Smith, they introduced a bill in the House of Rep in Senate. That bill is called Nigeria